If you watch the channel, you might recall this SW1200 switcher I modeled after the SMS Railroad. It's one of my favorites because I tried to make it as detailed and as close to the real prototype as possible. I found this picture online, and I thought it would be really cool to try to duplicate it with my model. My biggest challenge would be finding the right figures for the cab and the man on the ground. I guess I could have spent countless hours scrolling the internet to find just the right figures, but I've had some luck in the past of taking an existing figure and modifying it to the way I need it to look. So that's what I decided to do in this case. I found this MTH figure set, and it had two figures which I could make work. This fella would go in the cab, and this fella would be the man on the ground. All it would take is a little bit of surgery to rearrange the figures in the position I needed them to. Whenever I start a project, I always have these grand plans that I'm going to document it to the nth degree so I can have pictures or make a video. And in this case, I just got so involved, I really kind of forgot to take a whole lot of pictures or video. So this is what I have. The man, I cut him up, I re-glued them back together, and I painted them. Boom, done. Looks pretty good. But I'll give you some details on how I did it. But before I do, I'd like to take a moment to explain how and where I found this photograph online. It's from the railroad photographer, Steve Barry, and he has a fantastic website with railroading and other things. When you go to Steve's homepage, at railroadphotographer.com, you'll find various menus based on railroads, lighthouses, Americana, outside the United States for Europe, his bookstore where you can buy various books, and what I liked was his trains. He's got dozens and dozens and dozens of pictures on trains. He's traveled all over the United States to get these wonderful photographs, and you can search by state if you're interested. There are lots of different buying options, and everything is reasonably priced. So if you're interested in railroad photography at all, I would encourage you to check out Steve's stuff. It's really, really good. And I'm just going into New Jersey here because that's where I found my picture that I'm modeling. So I didn't take too many good pictures of my work in getting the conductors reassembled, cut and reassembled to get them in the poses I wanted. So I thought I would just do another guy here just to show you how I did it. I've already started performing surgery on this fella and cut his poor arms off. What I thought is I'll show you how I make this person, his arms were straight down at his side. And I'll show you how we can readjust this and even move the legs and make him look like he's walking and maybe reaching out with his arms. The other thing on those fellas I did, they had jackets on, kind of like this fella, and the people in the pictures just had t-shirts. So I had to make this into really just a t-shirt. I have this bit that came with my Dremel tool, and it works pretty good for what I want to do. And it will allow me to get rid of this jacket and make it look like a smooth t-shirt. And I can smooth up some of these areas where I cut the arms off and make it look more natural. So that's just to smooth them up a little bit. You take the hobby knife to get some of those little edges off. I figured if we're going to give him a t-shirt, I got to take the collar off the jacket that he had on here. The idea is, we want to make him look like he's got a t-shirt on instead of a big heavy jacket. I kind of like that. Scraped all the little things off here, so this will just look like he's wearing a shirt. And so we have to kind of do the same thing to these arms too. This is looks like he's got a jacket on, so we'll have to use the same tool, and we'll take this down to get rid of the sleeves on the jacket. Okay, 2 arms done. Let's just we're going to cut him at the waist and we're going to cut his legs off. And we'll show you how we can make him look like he's got a bigger gait in his walk. He might be a little shorter. Okay, so we'll leave that like that. Now what we can do is we can totally separate these legs and then give him a little bit of a gait in his walk, which will look a little better since he's going to have his arms out. And if we want him to stand, we may have to mess with his feet too. So what we can actually do is something like that. Again, if we want him to stand, we're going to have to do something with his feet to get him to stand. All right. I'm going to start putting some stuff back together now. What I like to use is CA glue. It's not perfect, but it works pretty well. It's really just Gorilla Super Glue and some kicker. Spray this piece with kicker. I want to do this off camera so I don't get any kicker near the glued piece. I'll only have a minute to get it right. Remember, we're going to have this thing put down here like that. There's our angled foot, and then when we put that together with the other leg, so we've got our feet separated, but we've got an unlevel surface here where we're going to mount our body back. So what we got to do is we got to trim that up, and as I mentioned, he's going to be a little shorter. So I just trimmed this up a little bit to have it go in a different angle. So when I put him back together, he'll be standing a little bit more upright. That is how you can change your characters around into different poses. Let's get some paint on him. I won't bore you with the whole painting process because you can do it however you like, but one thing I love to do is to have blue jeans and sort of have them make them look like faded blue jeans. And I actually use 3 different colors here to make that happen. I use a dark blue, I use a light blue, and I use a white. And there's no science to it. Sometimes I start with the dark, sometimes I start with the light. But it's putting one coat on and then dry brushing with the other coats to get an effect. So for instance, let's just start with the light, and we'll give them a nice light coat of blue here. What I like about this look is you really kind of get that worn dungaree look, faded blue jeans look, like a working man. He's been out. He's got his old pair of jeans on. First coat goes on, cover and everything. Alright, well, I was waiting for the blue to sort of dry a little bit. I went ahead and gave him a green shirt and put some skin on his arms. So this next part, to enhance the blue jeans, the worn blue jeans, what I like to do is just put a little bit of paint on the brush and wipe it off, kind of dry brush, and then just very lightly come onto the pants with the dark blue, dry brushing. And what you're doing here is you're just picking up some of the blue on the pants, especially where there's raised imperfections in the plastic and it looks like wrinkled blue jeans. You can do it to any amount of blue that you want. It depends on how dark you want the jeans and look that you're going for. We're going to go a white color too, so don't worry about if you don't like what you did, you can always go back over it with another color. You can either go back over it with white, or you can go back over it with more light blue or more dark blue. And as you can see here, I've gotten green on my fingers because I'm impatient and I didn't allow the green shirt to dry. I thought I could be neat and keep my fingers off of this, but I couldn't. As you find a lot of the paint coming off the brush and you think that there's no more paint on there, you can actually put a little bit more pressure on the leg here and you're going to find paint in that brush, and you can see that's darkening up. That's darkening up a little bit. Really shape it up nice. Like I said, when I get a little bit of white on there too, especially like on the knees, it'll really improve. Now for a touch of white, again, you're going to do the same thing. It's going to be a dry brush. I'm going to add mine to the areas in the knees where some of the wear comes in when you're wearing your jeans. I'm just going to stop right there. So now you know the process I use to modify the figures I have into the positions I need them to be in to create this scene. I hope you enjoyed this and you learned something from it. I know I had fun doing it. Thank you so much.